not encouraging or advising anyone to modify their firearms. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. What's up, everyone? It's time to wrap up this project and video series. Let's get into it. I've had quite a few people ask about a build list throughout this series. I'm not on any other media platforms where I could post something like this, and I don't think YouTube is too fond of having things like this in their description or comment section. So here it is on your screen. Do with it what you will. But please keep in mind, these are just the parts that I chose. I'm not affiliated with any of these companies, nor am I encouraging anyone to buy any of these products. I'm also not encouraging you to build your own pistol. All costs were rounded to the nearest dollar. The prices I state are what I paid and may not reflect current prices. Unless I specify otherwise, I purchased the parts directly from the listed manufacturer's site. Chile and Atlas don't list simple part numbers on their website, so there's no part number listed for those, but you will see the part numbers for most of the rest of the components. I was pleased with all the parts I bought except for the EGW hammer. It was $95 and the machining was rough. I've bought a number of hammers from other manufacturers like Wilson Combat and Fusion Firearms for half the price that were much higher quality. The rest of the EGW components I bought for this build were of the quality I would expect at a reasonable price. I would just never waste $95 on another one of their hammers. So the total parts cost comes to $2,490, including $370 for the optic, brings the total to $2,860. The anodizing of the grip module and mainspring housing was done locally for $106. The nitride treatment for the slide frame and some small parts was $153 total. That includes the service and shipping both ways. I would consider the finish integral to this build, so add $259 to the cost of all the parts and optic for a total of $3,119. Total shipping cost for all the parts was $133. I bought parts kind of piecemeal as I was ready for the next part of the build and was also figuring out which components I wanted. I'm guessing if I bought everything I needed at once from each manufacturer, it would be about $60. Anyways, factor this total shipping cost in and it comes to $3,252. I had to buy some tools for this. I think it's important to show this cost because that will factor into the cost of the first build. Keep in mind I had access to a milling machine and a lathe. I used the lathe to flush cut crown and polish my barrel for aesthetic purposes, but it wasn't really necessary. You could do without the milling machine, but it would be much more difficult and time consuming. All of the tools in this column I consider necessary. I explained why I think it's a good idea to have both barrel lug cutters in the barrel fitting episode. I bought a 1 to 2 inch inside mic off eBay for $50. If you didn't have this, you would need something like the EGW hood length gauge, which is $25. I ended up not needing the barrel link pin reamer, but if you need it, then you need it. So I would just buy one up front. I got mine from McMaster, part numbers on the screen. It's a 23 wire gauge size. Brownells offers one, but it's never in stock. Total for what I consider necessary tools was $414. This column is tools that were nice to have, but I don't think are necessary. One thing I would be buying if I do this again is the Everglades Ammo barrel hood machining fixture. It's about $120. That would have saved me a lot of setup time and effort prior to the machining of the barrel hood. I bought a bunch of different end mills and tooling for machining the slide serrations and putting a chamfer around the muzzle. But really, if you were only machining the slide and frame rails and the barrel hood, you could probably just use one end mill and that would be like $20. Nice to have tool cost was $473. Shipping cost for all these tools was $67. Probably would have been about $30 or $40 had I ordered everything I needed at once, but I was figuring out what I needed as I went. Anyways, I spent $954 total for tools and shipping. In past episodes, there were a couple things I said I would do differently next time, and that was just because I'd finished that part of the project and I was really burnt out on it. Now that it's in the rear view and I see how the pistol came out, I've changed my mind. In episode 12, I said I would buy a pre-anodized grip module because the machining was very nice and I didn't really think there was anything I needed to do to get the grip to agree with my hands. But it was relatively cheap and easy to get the grip module anodized locally. I took some time to contour and blend it a little bit more, and I think it came out nicer for it. Moving forward, I would still start with a raw grip module like I did for this build. In episode 10, I said I would likely buy slides with the serrations already machined because the machining was a big pain in the ass. But now, after seeing my own slide serration design with the finish treatment done, I absolutely love it, and I want to carry this design forward to future builds so I have sort of a set of aesthetically matching pistols. The time I have invested in building this pistol is important to consider. My time is worth something, and so is yours. Any time spent doing something has an associated opportunity cost. It's hard to guess how many hours I have into this build because it was so closely coupled with the production of the video series. I would guess around 100 hours just went into building this pistol. I learned a ton, and if I were to do it again, it would go faster, but I bet it would still take me probably 80 hours. Speaking of the production of this video series, it was a massive pain in my ass. Between research, writing scripts, filming, taking notes, editing, I probably have more than double the time I spent building the actual pistol into just making these videos. I'm glad I stuck with it, and I'm proud of what I've accomplished. I hope that I have made the most complete free video series about building a 1911 on YouTube, something that I wish was out there when I started working on 1911s about 10 years ago. I hope between these videos and the resources that I link to in the description of each episode that I have compiled a large body of reference material for anyone interested in the 1911 platform. All the episodes are organized chronologically in a playlist. I have another playlist of 1911 technical content that complements this series as well. Links to both those are in the description. Many thanks are in order. I want to thank sweet little baby Jesus and my first grade teacher, Mrs. Davidson. She always believed in me and knew that I could build a nice 1911 even when I was 6 years old. I'm just kidding. Thanks to all of you who followed along with this build series from the start or even watched one episode. I really appreciate it. The positive feedback I got in the comments really helped keep me motivated to finish it up. While this video series was a pain in my ass, I know my pistol turned out nicer because of it. There were also so many of you who kindly offered great advice and shared your experience with me, and that was very helpful. Big thanks to my dad for not only letting me use his shop and machining equipment, but also helping me with the machining. It was great to have another set of more experienced eyes checking what I was doing. I had a ton of fun working with him and learned a lot along the way. I want to shout out two companies. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I was really impressed by the customer service from AB Prototype and Chile Custom Gunworks. This is the first 1911 I've built in this manner, and I am so pleased with how it came out. It really did turn out much better than I was thinking it was going to, but the next one will be better, and the one after that will be better. I won't be making a full video series about either of these builds, and I don't even know when I'm going to start the next one. I'm planning on a ported Commander. Since I need practice fitting barrels, I will fit a second threaded barrel to it, because 1911s make nice suppressor hosts. With this 5-inch frame, I plan on a sight block comp build with the Commander length slide. Think like my own version of a Staccato XC. Anyways, that's the end of this video and this build series. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been informative or helpful to you in some way. Please leave any outstanding questions in the comments. I'll likely direct you to another episode in this series if I've already answered the question. If not, I'll do my best to answer it here. Thanks so much for watching and being part of this. I'll catch you next time. But not in another episode of this build series. It's done. In like some other video about gun stuff. All right, later nerds.